This is Warriors Anonymous.
Welcome to Warriors Anonymous Studios as we present to you the latest episode of Warriors Anonymous. My name is Jared Cronin. Welcome along to the show. We're going to be dissecting our game against the Tigers. And I'm going to start you off with a little bit of a quote from the movie Happy Gilmore. And it is when Shooter McGavin is getting quizzed by all sorts of different issues and whatnot. And he simply replies with, "I don't know. I was too busy winning." So that's where we're going to start. That's where we're going to start tonight, boys. Let's bring in the lads. First of all, we've got Moneta Sauce. Hey, man, how are you doing?
That's a great quote, mate. Yeah, I think at times we can be quite nitpicky, but I think at the end of the day we won. But I think in saying that, there's a lot we can improve on. But yes, that's a very good quote, G.
It's a great quote. Now we're going to nitpick the shit out of everything. But we've also got Isaac Sauce, who is recording live on a mobile device tonight. Whoa, action cam. There we go.
Whoa. And just to continue on from that quote from Shooter, the Tigers did really well. Where are they? Did last? Okay.
Yeah, they did good. Yeah.
Yeah.
We could just do a whole episode of Shooter quotes.
Damn alligator bit my hand off.
Yeah.
That's Chubbs.
Some Grizzly Adams had a beard. We've also got
Grizzly Adams did have a beard.
We've also got Daniel Wharakura, who you mentioned last week, bro, that you got FOMO about the grand final tickets.
Oh, yeah.
And you followed through. You went through and bought a couple. So, what's the story, bro? Whereabouts are you sitting?
Up fucking really high, I think, at halfway, but up in the nosebleeds. But there wasn't many left, to be honest. So, just a little bit of insurance, just in case we make it the promise.
As long as you're not like right behind a pillar or anything like that.
Yeah. You're like right behind the corner of the big screen, so you can't see the screen or the field.
It'll be like this. Hold on. It'll be like this with my action cam. What's going on, boys? What's going on?
It's like when you go to a cinema and you get right front seats and you have to look up the entire time like this.
Yeah, the bowfinger seats.
Bowfinger seats. Yeah, pretty good.
Great seats.
I think it's super high up,
bad.
so it's probably going to be like little ants.
Yeah.
Although there could be
The Warriors just scored. This the other team.
they could be the Beyonce tickets, the old new Beyonce tickets where you just pay to, I don't know what, hang outside. the non-stage tickets.
Was it 250 or something just to listen to her? It's not like
It's 350 or something. Yeah.
Oh man,
That's mad. That is mad. This is going to sound a little bit blasphemous on this podcast, but dare I say it, what are you going to do if we, by chance, don't make the grand final?
I haven't thought about that. I'm sure there'll be options. I'm sure I think there's a resale platform that you can look back on, so you might lose 10% of your value.
Was it via Viagogo?
Oh yeah, there you go.
Like 6 times the price. Whee!
Yeah. No, it's one of those things because this week they just pretty much snapped up. I think by the sounds of it. Yeah,
there'll be other Warriors fans. I reckon they'll be in the same boat as you, Dan.
Yeah. Warrior Holickers. He paid for the insurance, and I was like, I think the insurance only covers if like the plane is cancelled or or you
struck by lightning,
or you get COVID or something like that.
Not
so
if the Warriors lose the insurance paper.
Yeah. If you decided to go anyway, what would be the 2 worst teams for you to see in the grand final? Like, what would be your absolute shocker and you still went to the game?
Raiders and stuff.
Yeah.
Broncos?
Broncos, because I just despise the Broncos so much. Fuck it, Greg Dyer. And Broncos v Raiders, which I don't even think the Raiders will make it, but like Broncos vs Cowboys or something, just nah.
Not the Storm?
I would get the Penrith. I would go see Penrith because it could be a 3-peat.
True.
So, and growing up, I did like a bit of Penrith. I did like Greg Alexander until like 4 years ago. I don't like him anymore. But I don't know.
The old
I don't
chocolate
wanna-
soldiers.
Yeah, I don't want to think about it. Hold in.
It'll be
Positive
a great.
thoughts, man. Positive thoughts.
It'll be a great weekend. Either way, it could be really, really great. Perhaps. Now the NRL, they finally made their decision during the week that they would be sending 4 teams over to Las Vegas, and it's been confirmed that the Warriors are not one of those teams. It can also confirm to everyone that Warriors Anonymous is not going to be going to Las Vegas either. So, sorry guys. But yeah,
This time.
so they're sending the Bunnies, the Roosters, the Broncos, and Manly. I think that's the 4 teams they're sending over.
Manly.
Yeah. But what did you boys? First of all, Isaac, what did you make of those 4 teams that they are sending? Because there's not even one of those teams really in the top echelon of teams.
Great advertisement for the game. Yeah, wow. You're really going to get a crowd going there. I don't know. I mean, they've got to do stuff like this right to promote the game, and it's ultimately, hopefully in the long run, going to be good for it. But,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like neither here nor there
Yeah. There's
for me.
been quite a reaction. Just asking people's thoughts about it, even on the Warriors Anonymous page. So we'll do a quick hard on that. We'll start with you, Isaac. If the Warriors were chosen to go to Vegas, should they do it or not? Just tell them to get stuff.
Nah. They do enough travel as it is. I mean, I'm sure they'd have a good time, whatever, but that would be quickly soured by more and more travel. So
Yeah.
I'm nay.
We're
against
already
that.
twice the travel distance of every other team.
Yeah.
Of the nearest rival, that is. So, Moneda, hard or nah? If the Warriors got the opportunity, should they do it or not?
No, I think Isaac's point is a great point. We do enough travelling, and it just doesn't seem like Webster would be in. Andrew Webster would be into that too. I think he's very focused on the team and just trying to get them better. So, yeah. So,
Yeah, nice. Buddha, hard or nah?
Hard all the way. Wake up, you guys. Let's take the wireless to the world. Come on. I think the Warriors are the sort of team that you could support. Like you could transcend rugby league into just sporting cult heroes. Like you think they love All Blacks over there. We can connect back to the All Blacks. You had Wrexham go do a football club with Ryan Reynolds do a tour. They went to Vegas as well. I just think you could build some more following because it's the Warriors, man.
Yeah, could get some superstar, input from Hollywood.
oh, you could get Lizzo at the moment. She's finding it hard.
Yeah,
She could play the front.
there we
I think
go.
she's finding it hard to find a concert at the moment. But
No, I did mention that I'd put out a little bit of a hook to see what people thought of the whole Vegas setup. I'm going to share with you one of my favourite bits of feedback. One of the fans got involved on Warriors Anonymous page and did not disappoint. Lee Cole, thank you for this. He thought it was totally shit. Instead of showing the Warriors and New Zealand, the NRL fans some appreciation by bringing games
crazy.
over here, or to New Zealand, should I say? The surge in the game, experiencing in New Zealand with the success in our club, blah, blah, blah. If they go to America, they're probably going to enjoy, the little gimmicky sort of nature of it. But ultimately, rugby union have tried, hasn't worked. Rugby league's tried as well. American fans just don't really get into it. The All Blacks played a couple of times over there, didn't sell out, so he's got some very vehement thoughts there on the NRL management, that's just his thoughts. So I just wanted to share that because
Cold-blooded.
I like it. I like that passion, bro. I like what you you're putting out there, man. So thanks very much for engaging with us, and we'll look forward to some more, some more hot takes.
Piece of his mind.
To share more of the fan stuff, I reckon, coming up.
Full of fans.
Now, during the week and the lead up to the game against the Tigers, a couple of changes coming up, or at least one anyway, which is potentially significant. What are your thoughts on Justin Morgan finishing up at the end of the season, and I think he's heading to the Cowboys.
Just don't let the door smack him on the ass. No. All good. I think we forget that coaches are like players. They move around. They got to find the right role for them as well. And look, put it this way: if it wasn't for the resurgence of this club and this team this year under Webby, probably struggling for a position. He was obviously much maligned his input over the last few years as the defence coach as well, which obviously showed that we weren't defending that well last year for a myriad of reasons. But hats off to him. And I think you never know kind of how things have been going internally as well, but it might allow Webby to bring someone he knows in as well, because I don't think he's had, except for maybe Richie Agar, a connection, of one of his own players. And often, he coaches come in with their own squad, right, pretty quickly. So, all for it. And good on Morgs. Obviously, he knows Toddy, so all the best. And
it's also interesting to note, like, I'm kind of thinking about what we were talking about with Sean Johnson, last week. And, I guess Morgan wasn't the problem either. It was just, everything else. But, good on him to head off and, find greener pastures. I'm interested as well to see where that leads in terms of hiring. Because it was always a bit of a funny one with Webby coming in and sort of inheriting, coaching staff that weren't necessarily his guys. I know a lot of coaches, they want to set things up with their people how they want it. But Moneta, ding dong, the witch is dead. The war is over. The NRL versus the Rugby League Players Association. The interviews are back. Are you feeling joy in your heart from this?
Oh, no. Yeah, no, it's great. I really wish we did it when Sean Johnson dropped that kit. But I think the good thing is that they've come to a resolution, right? So, powers that be have come together and hopefully sung Kumbaya, and we can all hopefully move on. So, yeah.
Yeah, nice.
And it's great to actually hear the players after the game and hear their thoughts, like hearing Tohu mention about, they weren't up to their standard and stuff like that. So it's good to know they're kind of like still wanting to improve and stuff. So, yeah.
Now, also during the week, in the lead up to the game in Hamilton, Andrew Webster, our wonderful coach, just put out a little bit of a plea to the public to please not invade the field or, streak. It's not really streaking because it's closed usually.
Invading.
Pitch invaders. But how do you think that went on? That wasn't really heeded to. So I found this little clip on TikTok, which I might want to share with you guys. This is a little bit of footage from the FMG stadium.
Watch this hit though. It's like unintended consequences.
I hope he got famous.
Mate. Well, He kind of doesn't. The security guy got like a double bump.
That guy, if he hadn't slipped over, if that dude hadn't slipped over, bro, he was about to end his days. But yeah,
end of days.
So yeah, a few dirty looks and a few boos as well from the crowd and the players. They weren't
laughing,
chuffed with it.
I think. Like some of them were laughing at the scrum, mate, you could tell.
Yeah, was the Tigers who were laughing.
One of the Tigers boys, he was laughing, and then he was like...
AFB was like going, fuck.
I know.
Yeah, because he dropped the ball as well, so...
Yeah, so, I guess,
Well, the upshot is there were only 3.
How many were there in Wellington? There's tons of them in Wellington.
Was it?
3 at 7 or 8, maybe.
Yeah.
But Napier was 20.
Yeah.
Like,
half
it was
of
a joke. It was a joke. So maybe, it's kind of, we only let 3 in.
Is it almost like a case of, because I think back to the game, the homecoming game at Mount Smart against the Tigers as well, and there was a good sort of 7 or 8 streakers, and it was like, well, beyond that point, we haven't had a problem, so I'm just wondering if it's you just need to get out of your system, and then, from there it's all gravy. But I guess we'll have to see. It was a sellout crowd at FMG Stadium, Waikato. And, we managed to get a win, 30-22. We were too busy winning to worry about issues. Isaac, right, we got off to a bloody good start. A couple of nice tries there to kick things off. How did you see the opening stanza by us?
I thought it was going to be a bloodbath for a little while.
Yeah. No, sorry, you're right. Carry on.
Oh, what happened?
There's a bit of a lag.
Oh, is it? I'm sorry, boys.
Carry
you
on.
guys talk amongst
Carry on.
yourselves. I'll figure this out.
No, you're right. You carry on, man.
All right, is it good now? Okay, I've lost my train of thought. Yeah, I thought it was going to be a bloodbath. I was hoping it was going to help my multi. It didn't. And when it turned and it started raining, I got pretty scared. But yeah, the start was good. We came out firing.
Indeed. Some real nice play there. But I know you've always mentioned about Luke Metcalf sniffing around balls. And that's exactly what he did on that opening try. Mitch Barnett getting into the clear and putting, Lukey into space. What did you think of just the interplay? Even just going up the middle and attacking teams like that, which a lot of other teams, haven't mastered it as well as we have.
Yeah, it was nice to see that play early on. I think we couldn't quite find that against the Titans, and we had that. They made that break last week, and and Metcalf overran Walker, so it was really nice just to see it done properly. So yeah, I thought it was a good start, but then it kind of we didn't go back to it. We to their credit, the Tigers sort of tightened that up. I thought they were pretty good in defence, maybe aided by a little bit of extra time on us. I just felt, and Tohu was moaning about that as well, to his credit. He was like, we couldn't quite get that fast play the ball, which allows that ability to rush him a little bit. So I thought the officiating on that part wasn't ideal, but overall he was all right.
Moneta, do you think that the Tigers defensively, they maybe had done a little bit of study on what the Titans had done to us last week and really implemented a lot of that?
I think there's two key factors in my head. I think, yes, the Tigers played really well, but I also thought the loss of Egan was quite evident in terms of the distribution from dummy half. Bailey Cerners, he did a good job, but I thought you could kind of see the difference between him and Egan. I mean, there's kind of reason why they call Egan the next Cameron Smith. And you kind of just, the quality that you would get in the service wasn't, it was okay from Suriname, but, Egan's obviously, I think, at another level. But, and that kind of might have, slowed down or didn't set up our structures as well and so forth. So, but apart from that, what's his name? The six with Tigers, I forgot his name.
Dane Laurie.
Dane Laurie.
Yeah, he played awesome. So he's awesome. So he should play at number 6 forever. But he's not going to for the time. So,
Yeah, I think he might be leaving them at the end of the year. But c'est la vie. Just as they get a bit of a ray of hope. Anyways,
who's a recruitment person there? Shit. Those shockers.
Not ideal. Now, Buddha wanted to mention the absence of Wade Egan. I don't know if he was maybe jinxed by the banner that said "Let's Gone Wayne Egan."
Wayne.
Yeah.
Wayne.
Everything was wrong. I wasn't sure if it was like being ironic, like just playing on the whole "Let's Gone" thing, or if they just fucked it up like royally. It was like Wayne Egan. Wayne Egan. But Bailey Sizzle, in his absence, what were your thoughts on his overall performance?
Yeah, I mean, probably took a little bit of time to get into the rhythm at the start as well. Obviously, not expected to come in that early to play dummy half and play dummy half for the rest of the game as well. So, probably took him a little, first 10 minutes or so to kind of get into the swing of the game. But I think once he got into it, he was, he showed a few of those elements that Wayne brings as well. The overs pass, like that try for two, right? And I guess that's the difference perhaps with like a Lussick who, I think if Wayne's not available, Lussick will come back in as well. But I think that's why they've chosen Bailey over all the potential hooker options, because he does have the ability to, spot space. He's played like a bit of a 6 before as well, so he can read the game too. But just, it's a secondary role for him. But it's something he's picked up as well. So yeah, it's not a bad option, but yeah, Wayne is our preferred.
Now, Isaac, I think something that possibly hasn't been spoken about as much as it should be was how tricky those conditions might have been in Hamilton. It looked a little bit slippery, bit of rain falling, a little bit of cold, wet winter night. What are your thoughts on how we I don't know, maybe not adapting well enough to our own conditions?
Yeah, I think that's it. I've talked about this before on the podcast about how as soon as the rain comes in, the Warriors seem to look a little bit clunky. And I think there's a couple of other things that contributed to the clunkiness, like, Tuapiki, who to his credit, I thought he had a good game. But, some of those set plays where CNK would normally be, he was just, the pass from him was maybe a little bit behind the winger, or he just didn't quite get his timing right. But overall, I thought the team, in the wet weather conditions, they just seemed to slow down a hell of a lot. I think they're just maybe trying to concentrate on ball control, but the fizz and the energy just sort of seems to dissipate from them pretty quickly as soon as the conditions turn, and that's a little bit scary. I reckon if it was a dry track, we run over the Tigers, and if there wasn't that little level of complacency, but I think the conditions did play a big part, because we've seen that when the rain comes, they revert to type. So that's makes me a little bit nervous. Yeah, I was quite nervous for the whole game, to be perfectly honest. I thought it was going to be, David versus Goliath type thing where David wins.
Well, I mean, you spoke about it last week, channeling the insights from Greg Spence, and he mentioned that all of the games, even though we'd been winning them against the Tigers, they were all close. They were all sort of, 6-point sort of margins. So, and I kept thinking about that in the lead up. I was like, is it going to be right this time? And then I was like, nah, we're going to smash them. And then as it tightened up, I was like, well, no. Greg's on the money again. Should never have even doubted it for a second. But a couple of guys who really are standing up for us in these games where it gets, down to the nitty gritty. Guys like Tohu Harris and Adam Fanua-Blake. They just almost see these kind of tight situations of the game's getting close, and they're like, give me the ball, I'm going to sort it out.
Yeah, I mean, Adam is just on another planet. Play 71 minutes, in his own words, but at overtime, when he was interviewed as well. Just phenomenal numbers every time he gets the ball. Come dance with Adam. He's waltzing with 2 or 3 men on him. I don't know how many PCM he had, maybe 80 or so post contacts. He's just got exceptional go forward and just gets us out of trouble. So, I guess it's lovely to see that kind of in those tighter games, we're not getting out on the edges and we're not scoring 10 tries out wide. We can find them back on the inside, right? So, without and obviously clean up Tohu just everywhere, tackles, and always a ball playing option. So, yeah, the only thing for me, and we'll probably talk about it a bit later on, is how do you keep them fresh for the remainder of the season as well? I know there's a bit of a clash of thinking around that, but yeah, without those two and Shawnee, then we would be in a lot of trouble.
Because I think Tohu is a real example of how we've managed his minutes during that middle period of the season. And now he's starting to bounce around. He's only sort of wearing 40 meters of tape on him, which is good. He's cutting down, and yeah, he's showing a bit of bit of footwork and just a little bit of something on attack. And I'm like, wow, this is actually paying off. And I think you're right for a guy like Adam. I know he's going to want to be out there and help us win, but maybe if we just manage him a bit in the lead up to a likely finals, matchup or matchups.
I say that with just quickly with confidence that we've got guys like Bunty and Tom Ali, who have played, pretty regular football up until sort of around 18, around 19, 20, who are now sort of down in reserve grade. And, I was just looking at that team and I was like, they're first grade props, they, maybe not necessarily starters. Bunty's got a starting role as well, but I just think actually, yeah, I know they're about building connections and stuff, but, it's really nice to know that if someone had to drop out for injury or that you've got a crop of players that go back the last 2 years, you're like, fuck, have we got enough jerseys, enough players, of first grade quality? So it is something to keep in the back of our mind.
Yeah, for sure. One thing I'll say about the Tigers as well, I was impressed at their honesty. As a team, they seem to, if they get a dubious try or a try that they know is not going to be given, they don't jump up and, peel for it and celebrate and act like chops. So I enjoyed that. I was like, bro, you guys, deserve extra respect for that on top of bringing the game over to New Zealand. Moneta, in terms of probably our most attractive try of the evening, Dallin Waitene-Zelezniak in the corner. Do you think he maintained control of that ball?
I think he did. I mean, that was an amazing effort, though. He basically was parallel in the end. I don't know how he did it. I don't think there's any other finisher like that in the game who can do that stuff. But yeah, I think he grounded it. That's me being biased, obviously, a Warriors player. I'm Warriors, not player. Fuck no. Warriors supporter. Yeah, but I think he did. Yeah.
It also begs the question, is it beneficial for the game to, slow things down to that microsecond? It's if you look at that in real life, you look at that, it's a try. It didn't, the ball didn't bobble and bounce around. You weren't thinking, oh, did he knock that on or whatever. So yeah, I'm with you on that one. Happy for that.
Put it this way:
rewarded.
Next week it's no try. The week after it's a try. The week after that it's no try.
Yeah,
you just don't know.
I have to say, I think the ref. Yeah, that Tigers were definitely holding down on play, but at least he was consistent, and I think that's all we wanted from refs is to be consistent. With the elbow that Egan got, and then DWZ got the same thing. It was the same kind of I think it was a penalty of some sort, but yeah, so it was consistent.
On report.
Yeah, so he wasn't there was times I was like, oh, but he's consistent, so that's all we want, I guess, from refs. So.
Yeah, just on that raised forearm issue, Isaac, obviously it's getting a bit of blowback from, coaches and certain people in the media. What are your thoughts on that type of offence? Because there's been different ones throughout the season as well. I think it was Tino smashed Uppy's jaw in the face.
Oh yeah.
Did you hear what he said as well when Uppy was trying to challenge the one that that obviously got Wayne in the neck? He was talking to the ref. He was like, "Oh come on, ref! What about me? I got hit last. I got a broken jaw, and nothing happened, right?" So a bit of tongue in cheek.
Good point. Yeah,
Uppy.
Good call. Yeah, but it doesn't happen very often, but when it does happen, it's pretty sickening. And I think a lot of the level of the level of the penalty comes down to the injury itself and how badly the other person comes out of it. I guess maybe not in Uppy's case, but in Wayne's case, where it got him in the throat and they had to take him to hospital. I mean, yeah, he could have come off for a little bit more, Stefano with the Kamanu. But yeah, I mean, I don't think they do it on purpose. It just sort of happens. It's the nature of the game. Yeah, it's just reactionary. But I don't like Stefano anyway. I reckon there's a little bit of a grub about him for some reason. For an Origin player, and is he the captain of the team or a potential captain of the team?
Maybe vice or one of the leaders. Anyway.
Vice captain. Yeah, he's one of the leaders, but he's got this occasional hot-headedness and just blows up. I don't like that. But anyway, the elbow thing, it's just par for the course. It's just the nature of the game.
So, do you think that they should be trying to eradicate it from the game? Because I think there's a gap in the rulings. So there's people have got away with doing a bit of, but yeah, what do you reckon?
If it's clear cut, like we've seen in the past with for example, Nelson Osofa Solomona dropping his elbow into Wade Egan's face, it always seems to be Wade copying this, then it's obvious. But I think in the cases of Stefano and DWZ, how much control can you have of someone going too high or too low into a tackle? We just can't keep having all these rules, otherwise we're just going to end up like Union.
Yeah. I actually was reminded a little bit of Union as well. There was a couple of little technical rules that I was surprised by. First of all, there was, in the first half, Sean did a grubber kick through, and Rocco Berry came through, scooped it up and did a magnificent pass, and, Metcalf scored under the posts. And sort of looking at it to the naked eye, I thought, I kind of thought that you'd be put on side by the guy who picks up the ball. I thought that would change it to a general play type of situation, but clearly not. Also, that one with the restart, the short restart the Tigers did, that it broke the plane, about 15 metres in the air, which no one was able to catch it. And then when it came back down to the ground, it obviously was, inside the 10. But Buddha, what did you make of those calls? Are they good for the game necessarily, or is it maybe looking a little bit unionish?
Well, yeah, I suppose. Well, I think they are, because and this doesn't relate to this one, but there's been a spate of defenders. So kick goes back down on tackle 5, and then teams rumble it back out of their area, and then guys slow back into the defensive line. And there's been a lot of shepherding in behind those defensive players as well. So, yeah, that's kind of like not relates to this, but it's kind of a picky issue area, and there's that kind of that downtown rule as well. So I don't mind it, to be honest, because it just tidies it up. But it's just one of those things where the players are fully aware of it as well. So, yeah, I wouldn't want us to stop every play and, have advantage for, 25 phases in 30 metres and go back to the original penalty, all that kind of shit. I don't think we're there. But, I do think there's a space for people like being on side and, not exploiting those kind of little fiddly rules as well. Because like teams like the Panthers and the Storm, they pick up on it straight away. It doesn't get policed, and then they use it until 10 rounds in, and everyone picks up on it. And then they've already won like 8 games, because they got away with all these little insight rules.
Now, we've spoken about common sense rulings, especially from the bunker. Moneta, the first Tigers try, how did you see that one? Obviously, a couple of decoy runners come in, and a couple of our guys got inconvenienced. But yeah, what were your thoughts?
I thought that was fair. I mean, like, at first I thought it was obstruction, but then I think, Metcalf did make that choice to come in, and he just kind of slipped over a bit. But, I've seen those tries go, I've seen those kind of plays go against us, like when we've done something similar and we haven't got, like the one I think last week where Sean Johnson passed to the TDWZ,
ran behind
and
the
Kevin Warren was like running across like this, obviously. And it was a no try. I was just like, but that's where it comes back to consistency. Like, I thought, okay, this is possibly could be something similar to what Kevin Foran did, but it didn't end up that way. But if I was being subjective, I thought, fair enough. I thought this, Metcalf did make that decision initially. Then,
Well, there's two rules, right? There's 2 different rules, and you're right. I mean, the thing that annoys me is that one rule is black and white, and the other rule is based on what the player does, right? It's like, well, fucking can't they both either be black and white or both be what the player does?
It's just consistency, but like common sense. So I thought what common sense would have prevailed in the last call against the Titans where Kieran Fuller did whatever he did. But
he made a defensive decision.
So then common sense prevailed.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like just consistency. Yeah. If we're going to be black and white, then I would have thought, okay, then no try. But then,
The only thing that annoyed me on
black and white, get it right.
Yeah. The only thing that annoyed me on that try was a forward pass afterwards. But anyway, can't rule on forward pass.
The roll forward, the flick out.
Yeah. He's got a very distinctive sort of passing technique, old Dane Laurie, which is interesting.
Can we also just give a special mention to Luke Brooks for the worst forward pass in the history of forward passes So he turns around the other side, he throws it forward, and then he mouths off about not it going back or momentum or something and gets marched an extra 10 metres. Thanks. We needed that because he was looking a bit ropey at that point of the game.
That reminded me of one of your specials back at high school, but playing in the playing touch, bro. You'd always do the massive floaty forward pass and be like, it's forward. Try it.
Man, no.
And just walk back to your try line, walk back to your half. No. That's good.
Nah, try.
That's good.
Play on.
Play on. Yeah. Nothing to see here. Nah.
You need to maybe teach Luke Brooks how to do it, bro.
Yeah, just walk back. Nah.
It's all in the cell, bro. It's all in the cell. Moneta, we had a couple of issues defensively on our left edge. We had a couple of basically a couple of meltdowns out there, particularly in that second half. What is going on between the relationship between like Metcalf, Jackson Ford, and the outside boys, Pompey and Monty?
I don't know. I do think it does come down to like what Webby said. I think it's just at times a lack of concentration, and I mean, they scored some pretty good tries, the Tigers, and I think that they kind of exposed the short side a bit and caught us running back at times, and I don't know what the answer is. We did look a bit clunky on that side. I don't think we looked woeful. I think we can fix this up. Like, that's the thing, right? So it's only been the last, I think, 2 games after the bye. I think we've started to look quite clumsy. So I'm sure we can fix ourselves. And as Webster said, we've got it in them. I think it's just a mindset thing, and that could be fixed, hopefully, in just in 1 second, to quote Webster. So I have faith.
Yeah, that was a really interesting reaction, what Webby said in the post-game. Just saying, it's not a number of practices kind of thing. It's just they can fix it in a second. It's just a mindset.
That's why he's coached. Like, even Tohu was like, oh, wow. I can see why the guys kind of gravitate to him. He's not, he doesn't like go, like, he's got that belief in his players where, yes, he knows they've done wrong, but he still believes that he can get them out of that rut. So makes us believe. Makes me believe.
Have any of you guys seen Ted Lasso? Have you seen that show, Ted Lasso?
No.
No?
Yeah, watch it. Andrew Webster's like that. He's Web Lasso, basically. He's just got the Midas touch with his team, man. And he just knows how to deal with them. If you did get a chance, watch Ted Lasso. You'll know what I mean. But he just knows how to work with the players that he's got in the right way to get a message across to them.
Yeah, he's good at that.
Right.
Doesn't remind me of Cooney when he kicked the towel into his players.
Yeah. That was the team. That was the best tactical kick the team had done all year. But in terms of that mindset thing, could there be perhaps just a bit of complacency setting in, seeing as we're reasonably solid, seemingly, with a finals berth in sight?
I think it's. I mean, Webby hasn't looked at the ladder or whatever. He keeps talking about that. They win as many games as he can. But for all these players, especially who've been the Warriors for the last sort of 3 or 4 seasons, right? Like, it'd be hard not to just stop and take in what's going on. And actually, part of me thinks they need to and enjoy it. Like, you can't be living under a rock, man. Like, they can't be like not knowing what's going on. They're fucking traveling really well, and they need to appreciate that as well. But there is a balance, right, of like, knowing that yes, they're traveling pretty well. Yes, they're likely to secure some finals as well. But getting to the finals in the position where they are now, like, if they were to if they didn't make top 8, that would didn't make top 4, everyone would be disappointed. I think fair to say you'd be really disappointed as well. And I think they just that energy required. I think we've gone from a team that, and we're supporters as well, gone like each week, we turn up and like, I hope the boys just put on a display and perform well and can edge a win. And we got to probably in the middle of the season, sort of round 13, 14, 15, we're like, fuck yeah, well, boys are on fire and we're turning up and we're going to win, and that excitement factor of, winning week in, week out. And dare I say it, maybe as fans as well, we just got a little bit complacent that we're going to turn up and win. So maybe, everyone in the club is feeling that. So I think the reality check now to kind of, have some close games now and there's a lot of stuff to work on might be a good thing. And this might just be, they might drop a game in the next next 1, 2 or 3 games, which, sometimes it's not a bad thing. Imagine if I said at the start, we're winning 20 points the whole way through. We get to first week of finals, get smashed, second week of finals, get smashed, and we had no ability to figure out what the issue was. That's what happened to the Sharks and the Cowboys last year. So, yeah, maybe there is an element. And then rightfully, if they have, then because, they've had an amazing season, but they've got time now to kind of get slapped around and wake up.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I actually have a theory, Moneta. Keen to get your thoughts on it. That the weekend's results are almost perfect for us because Panthers are the Panthers. Broncos, massive win. Storm had a huge win as well. So everyone's talking about the top 4 and talking about those 3 teams. And they're not talking about us because they expected us to put a score on the Tigers. We didn't do it. So all of a sudden, they've almost mildly kind of written us off. Are we in a good spot so that not as many people are looking at us and we can sneak up on them?
Yep, I think so. I think it comes back to, I think we're finding out the things that we need to rectify before, go time in terms of the finals. So, the Storm put on a huge score, Broncos, all that. But I think, if you look on the positive sides, we've been through some pretty tough games, which we've actually showed resilience and won those games. In the past, we would have gone downhill pretty quickly and lost it. So there's an element that, yes, we didn't play it to our standard, and that's a good thing, right? Because we haven't played to our standard, but we still won. So that shows we still have improvement before we get to the finals. So I think there's an element of just watch out. We'll be lurking behind the scenes. You guys can just keep on doing what you need to do, write us off. But then when it comes to finals times, so we got this. So, so just thinking about last year, God, that was a shocker. But, now look at this year. Expectations I know are high, but I think, we still won. And that's a good thing. And back to your quote, what was it again? You said
I was too busy.
I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast. No.
You eat this shit for breakfast?
No.
It's amazing looking quote you got there, Mr.
That's what we'll be saying at the grand final. That's a tremendous looking trophy, Mr. Webster.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I think it's better to have a game like that against the Tigers than it is against Melbourne or Penrith or whoever in the semi-finals. Let's get it out of the way.
Yeah.
It's nice that a team in an inconsequential game found a weak point that we can now fix going into the semi-finals and going into the finals. Instead of going into the finals, somebody picks a weak point like that, we've got no time to fix it. It's done. That game's over. So, fuck it. It's better to happen now than later.
Yeah,
and
for
to
sure.
add to that, in the last couple of games that have been really close, apart from that Raiders game, although, I think
We should have won that.
but the reaction post that to be clinical, march in the field and drop a goal, didn't even give them a chance. That was awesome. But what I thought about the Titans and against the Tigers, there was a period there where 20 to go, we went into that kind of let's strangle mode. Let's keep them down where they are, keep them pinned. Let's kick to the corners, that sort of thing. And I think when it gets tight like that, SJ can just, change mode, and go from trying to create at will to kind of let's actually either score a try or if we don't score a try, keep them where they in the corner where they need to be.
Build pressure, right?
Yeah, for sure. There was a couple
SJ just seems to know the time of the game to go, the rest of the stuff's not working. Let's just go back to what we're really good at.
Yep.
And then the rest of the team follows, and then it's just a case of the Tigers or the opposition making a mistake, which inevitably happens because we're so well drilled in playing that style of game, and we've got the fitness to play that sort of game too.
Also, a couple of those tries, Adam's try and Pompey's try. Had a look at those and just watched Sean just doing exactly that. Not just on the play, but the previous one or two plays before that. He was doing the playmaker role, finding a runner, bang, and then he would just basically go into the first receiver on the next play, and then he would, put either Pompey or Fanua Blake into space to score. And I just thought that's just him just going, here we go, like I'm just gonna take control of the situation here and put that real stranglehold on them. Which is good, which is just what we want and just what we need from him, especially as things get tighter, and it's going to help us going into what we think will be finals. Also, the New South Wales Cup team had a good win against the Western Suburbs Magpies. Good throwback name, that one. Western Suburbs. Oh, look out. Some good players I remember from Western Suburbs as well back in the days. So they won 26 points to 16. A good win, which again keeps them in second place. Man, we're doing well. New South Wales Cup sitting second. NRL team sitting third. And they've got a game coming up next week. Curtain raiser for the big game over at Go Media Stadium. So that will be on Friday afternoon, 5:30 p.m. New Zealand time, 3:30 Australian.
Just a quick shout out to Ronald Volkman, man. Like, he is just controlling that team beautifully.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like a little SJ clone. Like, he got the kicking game right. You can see, because it was on TV pre this game, you can just see they play the same as first grade team as well. They finish sets in the corners. It's awesome to see, actually. So, it's look, touch wood, nothing's going to happen to the bro, but if needed to, potentially, you could get a good game out of Volkman in first grade.
Yeah, a lot of the tries they've been scoring in the past couple of weeks have been just the result of just pinpoint kicks from Ronnie, which is excellent from him. Especially considering he's probably a guy who's trying to figure out, just where he fits with the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
Now, this is going to be the time where we have a look at the Greg Spence weekly special.
Yay, expense account.
Ding, ding, ding.
I can actually read a bit of it. Winning's a hell of a drug. The team's current 5-match win streak is the first time they've achieved that since April 2018.
Oof.
That's cold-blooded.
That is.
It's good.
Yeah, what good 5+ years since the heady days of 2018. So that's nice.
It's a long time ago.
It is.
And then leads us on to 6 wins in a row. So 6 wins in a row has only been achieved twice in the club's history. During the 1995 and 2002 seasons. I'm surprised about that 95 one, but 2002, yeah, 100%.
This one doesn't count. But we can do it again.
And Luke to get the boot. Metcalf didn't kick the ball at all versus the Tigers. The second time our 5'8" hasn't kicked in a game this year. 8th time in 2023, our number 6 has kicked for less than 20 meters, averaging only 37 meters a game, and only twice has a player gained over 63 meters. And Tamari Martin holds our season high from the 5'8" position with 92 meters. So it just goes to show how much SJ is being relied upon with the boot.
Yeah. Funny we saved him funny we saved him on the goal kicking for a little while. Not so much the field kicking. So, Luke can kick as well. He's got a good.
Yeah, that was interesting there too. I think we should talk about that. I guess why Pomps was taking over the kicking duty.
Yes.
But last but not least, Built Ford tough. Jackson Ford topped the Warriors tackle count against the Tigers, and it was the 7th time he's done so for the team in 2023 with 33 tackles. Sorry, it was the lowest top tackler stat for the side this season. So. Interesting.
It is interesting.
We had a shitload of ball, I think.
Normally it's Tohu doing about 180 tackles per game.
Yeah, with his 50 meters of tape.
Yeah, good to see that he's freshening up a little bit, which helps. Seeing the benefits of that. Now, yeah, Isaac, good point, which we haven't spoken about yet, and that is the goal kicking. And what do you make of that situation where Pompey came in, started kicking, and it was like, what's going on here? What's wrong with Sean? And then Sean came in and had a kick, and it was like, okay, what's going on here? And then they brought Pompey back, and it was like, what the fuck's going on here? So, what do you make of it all?
I reckon they are trying to just build up a little bit of confidence in Pompey with the boot going into the final season. If for whatever reason SJ's injured or can't take a kick at goal, he might have an in-game injury that fixes goal kicking. They've got a capable backup. Because you can see that happens. A game it can be won and lost with the boot, and they want to make sure they've got a handy backup mid-game if shit hits the fan with SJ.
Yeah. Did you see that Webby had said that Shawnee was carrying a bit of a quad as well?
Yeah.
So they just wanted to take some of the extra. Well, I could feel it goal kicking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's obviously stepped up for that crucial 2-pointer penalty we took.
I think that's a real strength of our team as well. The goal kicking options we have, because Pompey's good. Metcalf is also really good, and then you got Ronnie Vogtman in New South Wales Cup, who's bloody, bang on. Didn't have a great kicking game this week, but generally speaking, he's super accurate. So the fact we've got all of those options that we can use if needed, that really helps us. So anyways, having a quick look around the rest of the NRL. We haven't got a heck of a lot of time here, but there's always enough time to just have a little bit of a nibble on your delicious and also equally nutritious NRL.
Depends if you've got ranch sauce in there or not, because that stuff's not that good for you. Oh, that looks good.
Great onions.
Wrap up. What did we see? What do we know? I mean, first of all, we saw if you did see, the Broncos put on an absolute clinic. So, power, pace, they just have the youth in abundance. So, tricky team to handle. But I think a team where they haven't really been tested, have they? In a down and dirty shootout. Maybe they did by the Panthers. Obviously, Panthers kind of roll on their winning ways. Big hats off to the Sharkies. They're backing up as well. So, we probably declared that they were the team to run out of the 8. They've had a couple of good wins sort of week in, week out. So,
just a quick question for you, bro, on that point. Have you had thoughts about reverting back to your second team of last year? Because you made the transfer to the Eels this year from the Sharks. Are you thinking of heading back?
Oh, I could do. I've got a license to, because I did want to back the brother Brownie over at Eels, but he did himself a mischief. So I think he gets a get out of jail free card, right? Oh, actually, that's not probably the right thing to say in this situation.
Not the right thing to use.
Yeah, but Para. I think you can put a line through Para now. You can definitely put a line through the Sea Eagles as well, and we will fucking put a massive line through them again. Knights continue to look hot. Faders, Raider Faders. They're like hanging on, aren't they? Just trying to hang on. It's just going to be a really interesting race because they're still in there, but they're going backwards in a rate of knots, especially when it comes to
any top 8 team. That's the thing. No top 8 team. Yeah,
it's
Haven't they been the Broncos?
Yeah.
Raiders?
Yep, they did.
Oh, they did.
Mythbusters.
It will be recent form. Well, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, the season's so long.
Backwards at the wrong time of the season.
Yeah. But it's awesome. Bunnies. I mean, I declared them bloody premiership favourites, probably like round 10 or something like that. They were looking good. Apparently, they only won a couple of games and beat us since round 12. So, Cows had a rest, and then they're back in there. So it's all to play for. We're probably we're guaranteed finals. We're guaranteed finals. Can you say that? Can we declare that?
You guarantee? I think you declared it last week.
You can very much declare that.
Mathematically we're not, but I'm just so Warriors. I'm such a Warriors fan. I don't want to own anything.
Yeah. I did watch the Manly versus Penrith game, and I did think Manly played pretty well. It was only 24-12, so I do think we have to be careful with Manly in front. So,
Oh, yeah.
You always have to be
Manly had a chance at times to take this out, but again, Penrith were just too clinical. Yeah.
That's why I hate Manly so much. They always seem to do well over us. It's just like the wrong
stat. I was like, oh fuck, great.
Yeah. Having said that, it's the right year for this Warriors team to break hoodoos because
they've been doing that.
Yeah.
just been doing it all season. So that's cool. There's
Yes, please.
a couple of beautiful matchups coming up next week around the league. The Sharks play the Cowboys. So that'll be interesting. And the Rabbitohs play the Knights. So that's going to start sorting out teams 5 through 8.
I've got to watch that one. Yeah,
it's going to be on. So also, yeah, we're going to be playing the Sea Eagles, which is an important game for us back at Go Media Stadium. Nice and dry conditions, hopefully Friday night. Hey, yeah, how do we see that one looking? Moneta, do you think we're going to show some progress? I guess that's probably the main question.
Just to shout out Daniel Anderson, so they're naming it for the day Daniel Anderson Stadium, just considering what he's gone through. So, took us 2001 and 2002 to the finals for the first time. So it's a good cause. So hopefully it's a good day. In terms against Manly, it'll be a tough one. I think. I think we will we'll have to fix it, I think. There's no buts, I think, in this time around, because I do think Manly's a kind of step up from the other two, considering seeing how they've played. And Manly are still in the run somewhat mathematically to get to the final. So they're playing for something, right? So we'll improve. I think we have to improve. So, and hopefully, like we've just said, that they can fix that mindset going in and so forth. And Webster we trust.
Defensively, Botta, how do we just try and get things back to what we were doing earlier in the season and just tighten things up a little bit and show a bit more desperation?
I think it's what it is, desperation. We were, early in the season, we were in every moment because we knew that's going to way to win games, and we haven't won many games, and then we go on a run, and I think, as Webby said, it's just in a second they can change it because get back to going. We're not guaranteed this victory, we're not guaranteed this as well, and and they'll know they'll have to be on their guard. They've got arguably the fastest man in the league, over 100. This
both of them, two of them.
Yeah, Kohler.
Cool.
Yeah. So you're gonna have to watch out wide, and that's how been a bit of our Achilles heel, and I think part of it is also the unpredictability of some of the teams we played. Tigers were just unpredictable in those areas as well. So they'll wake up defensively, but look, let's just not sugarcoat this. We need to thump them for so many reasons. Will that hurt? Over the years, we've got a chance to give them one back. We owe them big time, and they'll want to put on a clinic for Dill Walker. As well.
True. Yeah, revenge game. I think are we still tracking pretty well in terms of the recruits, having beaten all of their former teams. Isaac, quickly, has the Sostradamus got any predictions for us? Any standout players? Any pearls of wisdom?
Oh. Can I say a standout player on the other team? Yeah. I know this is a Warriors podcast, but okay. I get a sneaky suspicion, and this is what I hope doesn't happen, but I got a feeling that will. That after seeing the game tape against the Tigers, they will be targeting Metcalf with Olakoatu just running at him all day. All day. Okay. So if they need to fix it,
I hope I get it wrong with that.
I really hope I'm wrong. But after seeing what I saw against the Tigers, he's a classy player and he's a hard man to stop. So that's going to be one of those big things. If we're going to win this game, we need to stop him from getting, post-contact meters. Because I think the last time there was a player similar like that, which was Kaloa Matangi for South Sydney Rabbitohs, he ran roughshod over the Warriors and they won. So I think there's a bit of a blueprint there. No coincidence they play on the same side of the field. We're going to have to nullify his threat. And they've got a big forward pack. They've got speed in the backs, but I pinpoint him as a key target.
Hey, just a quick one, just to throw some shit around. To counter that, with the abundance of forwards we have, would you consider putting Dylan Walker back at 6 and bringing Bunty back into the bench? You know, you got Chaz Tavanga who can come in at 13.
Is Dylan Walker right? I saw him sort of, he looked like he
didn't have much
moving
game.
a little bit stiff, like his back or something just kind of didn't look right. And he didn't get much time after that, and I thought, oh, hang on, what's going on?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I think it's just one of
I
the...
like that idea of bringing them some starch on defense.
I just think maybe because, and look, maybe this is a bit controversial because I love the Ball brothers, but I just don't know that we've got big minutes in 3 middle forwards, you know, Mitchie Barnett, Adden and Tohu. Just there's a sense that you can't get them all on the field playing enough time together because they all got to have time, if that makes sense. You know, Curran's getting 20. You know, Jad probably got to check his time, and he's just coming back, but he only got probably 30, 35 maybe as well.
Speaking of time, we have well and truly run out of it. Yeah, overtime. We're going to get in trouble. No. We are Warriors Anonymous. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, TikTok.
Threads.
I think that's. I'm hopefully not leaving it out. Anything out.
X.
We're also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube. Like and subscribe because that'll help us get rich or something. I don't know.
I was actually on OnlyFans.
But yeah, and OnlyFans, yeah. So thank you guys for your support. Lads, we'll have to catch you on the flip side. Next week's going to be interesting for more than one reason. Big game against Seagulls. And we'll see what happens on the next podcast. It's going to be very interesting. My name is Jarrett Cronin on behalf of Moneta Sauce, Isaac Sauce, and Daniel Wharekura. This has been Warriors Anonymous. We'll catch you next week. Up the wires. And go the Warriors!